Welcome back, Greg Bergman, to another edition of the Blue Review.
What's happening?
How we doing after an eventful night last night? We want to talk some Dodgers because this station is going to be jam-packed with Lakers talk all day, so we don't even need to get into that. I'm just happy to be here this morning, feeling good. Greg, how about you? How are you feeling?
Well, I could obviously be feeling better if the Lakers didn't blow it last night and Jamal Murray hit a last-second shot again. That was so how did you watch the game? I actually did watch the Dodger game last night and the Laker game. I had in front of me on the TV was a Laker game because that you need to be focused on that. Exactly. But I had my phone up too, and I had it on my phone, and I was watching just like this. Wait, where's the camera?
you were doing the like screen on screen.
Yeah, I was doing the screen.
World?
I was just sitting there watching like this, and I even had a little bit of sound on it so I could hear Joe Davis and Eric Karros, but paying attention to that. So I watched both games exact same time. I actually really love this time of year.
I like that. Yeah, I had the game on the TV, the Laker game, obviously, and then my phone was on the Dodger game, actually, but I wasn't doing I just had it on the ground or like the table. Yeah. But the Dodgers ended up having a good game. We can't really say all the same for Paxton, but somehow he still squeezed out a win. So we'll get into that. But overall, the Dodgers had a good game. And before we get into the episode, I just want to remind everyone that we here at Blue Review are presented by our friends at LAX and Los Angeles International Airport. As always, there's changes arriving there daily. They're reducing traffic, saving guest time, and transforming the travel experience. So if you want to find out more, you can head over to flylax.com/transforming-LAX. I like the little finger guns. Yes,
no, the finger guns were for Jorge, who was walking by in the other room, and every time I'm in here, he likes to give me finger guns. It's just usually before 9:30, and this time it was after 9:30, so I have to still give him the finger guns.
Oh, we can never leave anybody hanging with the finger guns. That's right.
No, absolutely not.
So, Greg, let's get right into it. 8-4 W last night in Arizona. It's always good to beat up on the Diamondbacks, especially after last year. Go ahead and we'll start with just Paxton's performance, and then we can get into the positives, which is the lineup.
It's amazing that we talked about it yesterday, Parker, with Marcus, and that the one thing that we wanted, the one thing for James Paxton that we wanted was to have him give up no walks, to have him this be the outing with 0 walks. He walked the first guy on 4 pitches. The very first batter, he walked on 4 pitches. So that was obviously not in the cards for him, and he ended with 5. Somehow, some way, and maybe it's because this team is just so good offensively, he finds a way to win and to mitigate the issues, the runs, but he still gave up a couple. It was not a good outing for Paxton. He got out of it. No, he got out of it. He gave up some runs, but look, if he gets W's, that's all that really matters. But at the end of the day, he has to stop. He has to find the pitch, find the strike zone just a little bit. But again, he's like the 5th, 6th starter when it's all said and done. Yeah. So either way, it's not so bad.
Yeah, I mean, it just depends. I don't want to say it depends on who he's up against as well, because the Diamondbacks they do have a good lineup. But, they were in situations where they would have the bases loaded and they would just fold again. So, I mean, credit to him, I guess, for getting out of those. But at the same time, the offense on the other end just wasn't really doing their job. And sometimes that's the case. But I'm still hanging on the edge of my seat when Paxton gets there. Like, when is it going to be the game where you just, Dodgers down 6-0, Yeah. So a little worried moving forward. But again, like you said, the dub is all that matters. And they got the dub courtesy of the lineup. Greg, this team didn't strike out.
It's crazy.
The entire game. That hasn't happened in 18 years. Like, first off, what are your thoughts on that? The fact that this team went 44 at-bats, no strikeouts.
Which is absolutely amazing, because in today's day and age, with how pitchers are so good, to not strike out one time, especially when you have a lineup full of guys that strike out a ton, to not strike it out. Thank you for Chris Taylor not being there, because that would have definitely not happened. But for that not to happen is absolutely amazing. It was really, really impressive to watch. Some other things that were also impressive that I looked up afterwards because I was just curious what was going on. Andy Pages has struck out one time in his last 10 games. I think he's only been here for 14 total. I don't know if that might be off, but he struck out 5 times total in his entire career as a Dodger right now, and he struck out once in his last 10 games. Mookie Betts, 0 strikeouts in his last 12 games. For a
Yeah.
guy at the top of the lineup that's just on fire, that just shows how ridiculously locked in he is in this year. No strikeouts in 12 straight games is absolutely amazing. Now, was that going to stay? Like today, you're facing Jordan Montgomery, who's a very, very good pitcher. Probably going to go the opposite way. There's going to be a lot more strikeouts. You're not going to
Hmm.
go through another all the way through the lineup with no strikeouts. But that was still very, very cool.
No, I mean, it's just amazing to hear that because the whole thing, and Pies especially, will stick with that because the bottom end of the lineup is kind of starting to find their rhythm, I guess you could say. They're starting to put up competitive at bats, which is all we've
Yeah.
been wanting this whole year. We'll stick with Pajes. Yeah, he's batting 298, and he's got the 2 home runs and 8 RBIs, and I think maybe upwards of an 850 OPS. The dude's raking as a rookie. What does this mean, Greg, for just the Dodgers moving forward in terms of, hey, when we get close to the All-Star break, let's say Hayward's healthy again. I mean, we know that CT3 is probably not going to see much of the field anymore. But how do you see this kind of working out now that Pajes is like an everyday guy?
It's going to be interesting when Hayward comes back. You're right, because there's only so many spots, and Teoscar is not going to lose a spot also. But he's playing his way into this lineup every single day. And that was what we talked about when he got brought up, right, Parker? Like we talked about Dave Roberts saying he has the runway. He's going to play every single game. Lefties, righties, it doesn't matter. And
Yeah.
this is also what we were hoping for, a stabilization of the bottom of the lineup. And that's if he's your 8 hitter, and he's coming up with bases loaded and smacking a double on the first pitch to the left field. That was great baseball. Like the way that he pulled the ball, it was really, really nice to see. And to have a guy in the bottom of the lineup that can actually do that, it stabilizes your lineup and it allows other guys to get better pitches behind him because he knows like maybe I can't throw a good pitch to Pajes because he's going to take me yard or whatever it happens to be. And then other guys start getting the pitches. The top of the lineup, 1, 2, 3, that gets that, like everybody gets the pitches behind him, can happen at the bottom. And Pajes is being that guy. I really, really like what I'm seeing from him. And to be clear, at some point, he's going to have a slump. He's not going to be this great in the entire season. He's a rookie. He's going to have his ups and downs. It's about what happened with James Outman last year, being able to make the adjustments to the adjustments. And right now, pitchers haven't adjusted to Pajes, but hopefully he just stays like this all year.
Mm-hmm. No, you make a good point. And I mean, I'm looking at yesterday and the way that Pajes, like you said, that at bat specifically, there were more at bats that kind of stood out to me in yesterday's game, especially Teoscar when he had, I think the bases were loaded as well when he got his double.
Yeah,
that kind of went into the pool, the intentional.
yep.
And it was just really cool to see that was on a 1-2 count. So the fact that the Dodgers saw, I think, 17 times they had a 2-strike count, and one, they didn't get any strikeouts, which is ridiculous. But two, they were just putting up competitive at bats and just like not going
Yep.
away is so encouraging. I mean, Dave Roberts is just saying it continuously and continuously. We're changing our approach to that 2-strike at bat, and you're seeing that what was already a very potent offense is just now going through the roof. It's super cool to see that Paxton and guys like Paxton can get W's even after a rough performance.
Yeah, no, I mean, the fact is them putting up 8 runs doesn't surprise you on any night. That's just, you almost expect them to do it every single night. So you can have a guy that gives up 5 walks and has, gives up 4 runs, and you still feel good. Even when they lost on Sunday, you felt good that they were going to come back to win. It just had some amazing plays by George Springer, stopped all that. So and you mentioned Teoscar Hernandez with the 2-strike count. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure I heard on the broadcast he's the league leader in strikeouts. So the fact that he's putting up competitive bats with 2 strikes is pretty great for him in general, and that's also more RBIs. And the fact that he's coming through, you have a potent lineup all the way through, and I can't wait to see what they do against teams like the Braves this weekend.
Yeah, I believe he has 43. I think I was looking at it this morning, and I can confirm later. But yeah, it's great to see that last night. Maybe that will be somewhat of a. Obviously, he's still going to strike out a lot. The guys like him and Muncy, that's just how they are. That's how they play. But maybe this is going to be some sort of like eye opener, and that shift in the approach is going to help him get out of that strikeout slump. Even though overall this year he's been having a decent year, he's still leading, or at least one behind in home runs, and for the Dodgers, and just in general, he's leading the team in RBIs. It's been good for Teoscar, and we'll see how it goes moving forward. But on a negative note, which you can't even really call it a
How dare
negative
you?
because I know, right?
Negativity?
But he's been having such a great season, and we praise him nonstop. Shohei, though, there was a moment in the game, bases loaded,
Yeah,
top of the second. You know which one I'm talking about.
of course I do.
Where do we stand on just like Shohei? Because we just keep saying he'll be good. He's Shohei. Um, but as someone who followed him his whole career with the Angels, while he did put up amazing numbers, this is how do I put this? Like this is something that happens consistently. Runners in scoring position, he gets tight, tries to do too much, and you see plays like that, the double play. Just what are your kind of thoughts on that? And can he figure
So
it out?
it
I
was.
feel like he can.
I mean, yeah, I think he will figure it out. I think. Well, you've been watching him forever. Coming into the season, he has a career 268 with runners in scoring position. That's pretty good.
Hmm.
That's almost a third of the time he's getting a hit. So it's gonna fluctuate. It's gonna go up and down. I'm not worried about it. Maybe he is pressing a little bit. That's generally what happens when you're on a new team. That's what happened when he to get that first home run, and we were worried about that. Now he's leading the team in home runs.
Yeah.
He's pressing now, swinging at the first pitch with the bases loaded. Hopefully, that's something that he will kind of step away from. But like if guys are going to throw him good pitches to hit every once on the first pitch, he's going to swing at it. I think by the end of the season, it'll all be fine. It just is right now. It's something that's so. If we have any nitpicks towards Shohei Otani, it's that, right? It's that
Yeah.
he is the runners in scoring position. That's all going to even itself out. And if last I remembered, it is not even May yet. Today's the 30th.
April 30th. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not even May yet. So I'm not going to get all up in arms about Shohei and with runners in scoring position, especially when they've won 7 of their last 8.
Yeah, yeah. Come back to us, when it's All-Star break, and we'll see what the numbers look like then.
Sure.
But I'm right there with you. I'm not necessarily worried, even as somebody who has watched his whole career, and it's just different because you can't really compare what he's going to be here as a Dodger as to what he was as an Angel. Because, like you said, 268 is really good, but he also never really had that many opportunities with runners in scoring position.
That's true.
So, I think maybe he's also surprised that he actually consistently has runners there. And maybe that's playing a factor, but that's just me throwing shade at my old team. So
As you should, as much as possible. And I like that you
exactly.
said old team, not still your team.
Well,
They
you see
can
what
be.
you,
Oh,
you see what I'm
yeah.
wearing here.
Look at that. See,
Yeah,
be part of Blue Review, become a full-fledged Dodger fan. I like it. I
yeah.
like it.
Happy birthday to Ron Washington, though. It was his birthday yesterday, and they got a W for him, so that was cool to see. Whatever. Landon Knack on the mound today against Montgomery. You already mentioned Montgomery earlier. We're
Yeah.
probably not going to see another game with no strikeouts. But looking at Landon and how he's performed so far, what are you expecting today? I mean, just kind of early predictions, and then we'll kind of round out this episode with maybe some overall where we're sitting about 30 games in.
Yeah. So do you want to start with Knack or where we sit not 30 games in? Those are two separate questions.
I know. Yeah. We can start with Knack. We can start with Knack.
Yeah, we have a little bit of time. I know you want to get out early. That's fine. And I think you should, especially for a big day on Travis and Slee with Chris Morales being fully amped up for today.
Oh, it's going to be a masterclass.
It's Christmas Day for him right now.
Yes.
But either way, Landon Knack, I think I've liked what I've seen out of him so far. He has obviously had a couple of outings where or a couple of innings really that he's kind of got touched up a little bit. And when he starts getting touched up, it comes in bunches and it keeps going and keeps going. He gives up one single and he gives up another and another and he gives up a couple of runs but then is fine after that is what it's been. I'd like to see him now today, especially with Jordan Montgomery on the other side of this, being someone that is going to be calm and cool and just stay if something does start going wrong, don't let it get into a quicksand kind of thing where just everything just starts piling and piling and piling. Find a way what you can do in those innings afterwards where he's calm after all of that. Find a way to get back into that, and this is just a young pitcher. Find a way to get back into that when it does start going wrong, so you can get out of that inning. If you have a stressful inning, get out of it, and then have a shutdown inning the next inning after that. Hopefully that's what we see from him today. And if not, like, you're not going to win every game, but I would love to see a good outing from Landon Knack again.
Yeah, in his game so far, he's 1-1. He's got nine Ks with a 1 whip. So he actually has been showing really good stuff. And I think it'll be a good test for him against somebody who's proven like Montgomery.
Sure.
And like you said, if you can see him get out of those first couple innings and then relax a little bit, that's probably the best thing we can see out of Landon because moving forward, he may end up being somebody who you might have to rely on a lot if we have guys like Paxton, older guys, maybe even some of the guys in the bullpen just kind of trail off. You're going to need guys like Landon Knack to step up and go deep in innings. Guys like Bobby Miller when he comes back and he's healthy to step up and go deep. So yeah, I'm right there with you. I hope we see a good performance from Landon. You know what I didn't mention earlier, Greg, and I have to mention it every time that they have a good performance. The bullpen absolutely
Bullpen's
showed
been
out
great.
yesterday, and
Bullpen's
they've
been
been
great.
great. Yeah, we keep mentioning it nonstop. Um,
Did you cut me yesterday like Marcus asked you to whenever every time that Vesia pitches? Just cut that
I have the
exact
clip.
same
Yeah, I have
thing
the clip.
and oh, did you really?
Not in the system, but
Okay,
it is
no.
in the yeah yeah.
which is pretty, if you just play that every single time Alex Vesia comes up, great,
It's perfect.
because he was very good. He did the things that always worry me is that when he gives up those long shots that are caught on the warning track right up against the
Yeah,
wall, those are the ones that worry me because he didn't place his fastball, and that's what's been his trouble spot this year. But he's been very, very good. He's not giving up runs. You can, yes, the whole use every part of the ballpark is true. So yeah, like the ball, I was always been the one this entire time being like, don't worry about the bullpen. The bullpen will be just fine. They're rough usually very early on, and it gets better as it goes on. And they're going to bring in different guys. But Alex Vesia, if he continues to do this, he will stop being a villain. But so far, he's on his way to no longer being that villain. But he's been what, eight or nine outings now that he's been really, really good. Hopefully it stays, and then I'll be happy about that. I'm not going to continually crap on the guy if he's
right.
pitching well. Like you just can't. You have to go with what's in front of you. And those first, what was it, 7 innings? So probably around 7 starts of the outings that he had. He was bad. He was
Hmm.
bad. There's no other way to put it. The
Yeah,
last 7 or 8, he's been good. So let's see where he goes in the next 7 or 8.
I like that. I like that. And everybody else, of course, was looking good too. And Phillips
Yeah,
has just continued to dominate, which is super
yeah,
exciting to
he's
see because
great.
we want him to just be the go-to that you have no worries, and so far that's been the case. Now, Greg, we'll kind of end with this. You mentioned, I think before the show, I heard a couple stats that you said about Mookie, which really stood out to me, and we can maybe just kind of react to that and the fact that he is leading the league in certain stats. Um,
Oh yeah, that's right. It was Eric Steven put it. I was just reading it. He's leading the league in in walks and God. See, now you put me on the spot like this. It was
I know for a fact he's leading in average and
Yeah, I think
hits.
that's what it is. I think it's hits and walks, and only 4 guys in the history of baseball have led the league in hits and walks. Now that probably doesn't stay like. Oh, here it is. Mookie Betts currently leads the majors in both hits 46 and walks 24. In Major League Baseball's modern era, 1901 to now, only 4 players have led their league in both hits and walks. In 1924, Rogers Hornsby. In 1958, Richie Ashburn. 1963, Carl Yastrzemski, and in 1993, Lenny Dykstra. So if you're on the list
Wow.
like that, you're doing pretty well. And if he stays like that all season long, then he's an MVP candidate and probably running away with it.
You would definitely think that he would run away with it. I feel if he leads the league in its hits and walks, if that ends up being the case, and he's obviously going to end up being top 5 in average if that's also the case.
Yeah,
So he would win the MVP just by far. And I mean, the fact that he is probably going to be side by side with 2 of the other top 5 MVP vote getters, because my prediction is that Shohei's still top 5.
of
And then
course.
if Freddie figures I mean, he has already figured his stuff out. He's over 300 in the average again.
Yeah.
He's got 10-ish doubles, I think it is, on the season.
Remember when he
So,
had 2 and everyone was losing their mind?
yeah, yeah. So I believe the Dodgers, like we said at the beginning of the season, these guys were MVP, candidates in the past, and now that they're all together, I think they're going to be top 5 all at the same time, which I doubt has maybe only happened once or twice.
I'm sure. Well, last year was they had the top 2. They had Mookie, Freddie, and then Atlanta had both Acuna and
Yep.
blanking on the first baseman.
Olsen.
Yeah, and Olsen. So like those four from two teams was pretty incredible. But don't sleep on Will Smith, by the way. Will Smith is having a great year, and if he can, he is a prototypical what you should see now being a cleanup hitter, because he's cleaning up. He's not hitting home runs. He did hit one last night for his third, but he doesn't need to hit home runs. He's just getting on base. He's getting singles. He's constantly getting hits. He's already had 4 hit games. So just watch out for Will Smith and all that, because if he continues to get those pitches to hit because of those top 3, he could very well get into that conversation too.
Jeez. I mean, he has changed up his approach. He's not going for the bomb anymore. He's just up there trying to get hits, and it has worked out for him. So incredibly proud of Will Smith for what he's done so far this year, and we hope it can continue. But Greg, if there's any closing statements, I'll kind of leave it with you. But if not, we can kind of end here and get the people prepared for what will be an amazing day of ESPN LA radio. I'll kind of let you just paint the picture of how it's going to be today.
Well, as everybody knows, it's a lit Tuesday, so that means Chris Morales is fired up to get into there, because you know what happens. The Lakers lose. We're going to hear Adele. We're going to hear every single one of his thoughts and how he believes that he's actually on my side of this, about kind of ready for the LeBron era to end. So if you want to hear all that, stick around for Chris Morales on Travis and Sliwa, Mason and Ireland, and Sedano and Cap all day today, just going hard on the Lakers and the Lakers front office. That's something that you are not going to want to miss. And you're going to hear John Ireland sit there and say, no, everything's fine. Bring everything back. Just do what we've always been doing. And same with Sedano, and same with Travis, and same with Sliwa. It's going to be a lot of fun today. So stick around, listen to Travis and Sliwa. And thanks for being on Blue Review. We'll be back here tomorrow with Marcus Grant.